Good afternoon, everybody, once again. I welcome you all to a symposium / need assessment for media and entertainment industry. My name is Amichi Munachim, and I'm the programs coordinator for job opportunities for persons with disability at XFP Production. And on this call or in this meeting, we have some persons with us. I want to welcome our production director at XFP Production, Mr. Abudini Godwin. Welcome, sir. I also want to welcome our speakers. First, from the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, LASODA, representing the General Manager, Ms. Ikupolati Oluwakemi. Welcome, I see you. Also, I want to welcome our second speaker from the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, JONA PWD, Mrs. Andrew Uche. I welcome you, ma'am. So, likewise on this call, so on this meeting, we have several companies, several organizations in the media and entertainment industry. We have J World Entertainment, Mr. Joseph, you're welcome. I saw the staff from Lagos Talks. You're welcome, sir. I have Miss Jennifer from HR of Nigeria. You're welcome. So today, like I said, it's a symposium / need assessment. But before we go into the symposium directly, I would like to welcome Mr. Abudini Godwin to briefly tell us about XFP Production.
All right, good day, everyone. My name is Godwin Abulile, the production director here at XFP Production. I'm deeply passionate about the power of inclusivity to transform the entertainment industry. At XFP, our mission is just simple. We believe in celebrating diversity, championing the talent of persons with disabilities, and breaking down barriers that had hindered the participation in their creative sphere. And one of the key pillars of our organization is our commitment to job creation and empowerment of PWDs. Well, today's symposium holds particular significance as we come together to not only educate organizations on the importance of inclusivity, but to conduct a comprehensive need assessment aimed at identifying the challenges hindering the implementation of the Nigerian Disability Act. By understanding these challenges, we can take steps towards creating a more inclusive and accessible environment for PWDs in the media and entertainment industry. I'm incredibly proud of the strides we have made at XFP Production. However, we also recognize that there is still much work to be done. Together with your expertise, insights, and collaboration, we at XFP are confident that we can pave the way for a future where individuals, regardless of ability, we are confident that we can impact the world, creating opportunity to shine and to contribute talent to their fullest extent possible. So far, we have been able to achieve a lot, but when we come together as a whole body, we can impact these lives, and they will also have a particular contribution to the growth of the country at large. So once again, I say thank you for being part of this important dialogue. Let us work together and make inclusivity not just a goal, but a reality. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Godwin. Thank you for that brief about XFP Production. So for today, like I said, we are doing a symposium for the Disability Act of 2018. Now, I remember when I was trying to get some people to come for this symposium. Yeah, so maybe we're asking me, what's it about?
I'm on that. Order event.
Do you know about the Disability Act? No, that's exactly why we are here today. We want to learn what the Disability Act is about, especially the mandatory 5% of employed persons with disability in every organization. Now we are starting with the media and entertainment industry because this is our own field too. We have to start from home before we go out. So without much, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Uche Andrew from Jonah PWD. She's Gender and Disability Inclusion Officer of Jonah PWD. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You should speak. Can I speak? Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Like was introduced, my name is Uche Andrew, deaf person, but I can speak just as you can hear my voice. So that is why I want to speak to use my voice while my interpreter will be interpreting for me. The question you asked, first of all, I want to express my happiness to be part of this meeting. It is in line with our way of advocating for the issues about people with disability. Okay, working and partnering with media people is the fastest way to get the message of disability inclusion across the society. So I am very happy for this opportunity. And then Disability Act, as you asked, it is a document that the federal government have signed to back up the needs of people with disabilities. It contains a law that guarantees that every person with disability in all their clusters are given equal rights to participation and inclusion in every woman endeavors. The Disability Act was signed in 2019 by the administration of the former president. Since then, there have been a lot of advocacy pushes, advocacy enlightenment to the society to truly understand the needs of people with disability. When we say people with disability, we have different clusters of persons with disability. We have the deaf, just like me. We have the blind. We have those who are wheelchair bound. We have those who are persons with albinism. So all together, joined together, persons with disability. So this act is a law that ensures that people with disability are allowed to participate in every endeavors of life so that they can achieve the goals needed in national development. Before now, a lot of discrimination has been meted towards persons with disability. When you try to get one thing to do according to your skill, according to your experience or knowledge, but the society will feel that we don't need this kind of person because of their disability. And sometimes the structures in the society setting also pose a barrier for effective participation and inclusion of persons with disability. So this law now is a document that makes sure that all the barriers, whether physical or whatever it is, should be removed so that it will be on an equal basis for people with disability to actively participate. It's just like if you have a building that is maybe 12-story building and there is no lifts, there is no rail, no ramp. Imagine how it will be difficult for a person with disability. Content says that every physical structure in and around the country should be modified to make it accessible to all categories of persons with disability. And the modification will be in the way of universal design so that it will be equal to everyone, whether you are a person with disability or not. So the Disability Act in general is just a law that helps or guarantees that people with disability are given that equal participation so that the era of discrimination, exclusion, marginalization will be a thing of the past. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Uche Andrew, for that explanation of the Disability Act. I'm pretty sure everyone understands that organizations need to have the necessary equipment, the necessary things that are needed in their organizations to enable persons with disability have access in their organization. Thank you very much for that. I will call on our second speaker, Ms. Oluwakemi from LASODA, to briefly tell us about the Act 17 of the Disability Act of 2018, the mandatory 5% employment of persons with disability in every organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, good
Yes, we can
afternoon.
hear you.
Thank you. My name is Oluwakemi Ikukolati. I work with the General Manager Office, Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs. Concerning the 5%, the mandatory 5%, or let me say at least 5% of PWDs should be employed in service. Now, it's all part of the 2019 the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018, which was signed into law by the then president in 2019. Now, the act is very direct, controversial, and recent on the prevention of all forms of discrimination, abuse of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Now, the Act contains 58 sections, all of which cover the following principal areas of interest. We have discrimination and abuse of persons with disability, criminalization of any form of discrimination against PWDs, and ensuring adequate publicity, promotion, and public awareness on the rights of PWDs, making provision for accessibility to public buildings, rightly, just as Madam Uche has said, accessibility to public buildings and related facilities, provision of a 5-year period within which all public buildings and structures are to be adaptable for use by PWDs. Now, accessibility to transportation, including road, seaports, railways, and air and related facilities, protecting the liberty of PWDs and criminalizing their use in arm begging. No, we have some people that use PWDs to beg for arms. Now, making provision for all aspects of educational and healthcare needs of PWDs, which Lagos State is doing. In Lagos State, across board, all Lagos State government-owned schools, are free to PWDs from primary up onto tertiary institution. They are free for all PWDs. Also, there is healthcare system, that's the Ilera Eco Lashma, which is like an insurance for PWDs. They go there and then they get healthcare for just a very small amount of money. Now, to provide necessary assistive devices, provision for all employers of labor in public organization. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Madam Uche Andrew. I'm so sorry, Mr. Michael. I totally forgot that I'm fast. I am so sorry. Now, to provide necessary assistive devices, provision for all employer of labor in public organization to employ at least 5% of PWDs in their employment, provision of adequate standard of living and social protection in terms of accommodation for PWDs, encouragement of PWDs in politics and public life. Now, for the 5%, it has been mandated that every employer of labor, in line with the governor's themes plus agenda, which is social inclusion, youth development, and gender, in line with that, every employer is to at least have 5% of PWDs in their employment. Now, Lagos State has close to 1,000 PWDs currently employed in Lagos State. We have close to 1,000 PWDs currently employed in Lagos State. I think we're one of the first in Nigeria, let me say that way. Lagos State goes and everybody follows. So we're one of the first. We have that number currently working in the civil service. Ministry of Justice. So far, Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Information, they have the highest number of ministries with PWDs, and they also provide their PWDs with assistive devices. They are one ministry who we can applaud. They always provide assistive devices for their PWDs. So it is mandatory that all employers have that at least 5% in their workplace. Now, it is not just by employing PWDs. Well, some people can say, oh, it's just employ PWD now, let's employ them. It is not just by employing them. You employ them, and then you make sure that you have your facility is conducive for them. You make sure that your facility is conducive for them. Now, for people, we have, like Madam Uche has said, we have people from different clusters. We have the albinism cluster, the physical cluster, the deaf cluster, the blind and deaf cluster, which is the Usher syndrome. We have the spinal cord, we have intellectual, we have dwarfism. So all these clusters, each one has a special need. Each one has a special need. So it is not just enough for you to say, oh, we have employed PWDs into our organizations. That is fine. No, your organization has to be accessible for every person with disability. For every person with disability. You do not just build ramps and say, oh, we have ramp. No, it's your ramp to the specification of that person. Now, if you're building ramps, also the railings, not just the ramp, the railings of your ramp has to meet the required specification. Something as minute as your trash can, as minute as a trash can. The trash can should be, if possible, motion censored, that once we are close to that place, once the PWD gets close to your trash can, it can open by itself. You do not expect a person with physical disability or a person with cerebral palsy to be struggling with a trash can. So your toilet has to be accessible for PWDs. Your lift has to be accessible to visually impaired people. Now, we have lifts that have their numbers also written in Braille. So your lift has to be accessible to PWDs, to the blind, to the visually impaired. So it's not, that's why I said, it's not just by saying, oh, we have employed them, or you can come and start working with us, or maybe we have ramp. Most of the times when you talk to people, they'll say, oh, we have ramp. It is not just by having ramp. It is more than you having ramp. Your office, is it somewhere where people with albinism can come and they won't have to be stressed maybe under the sun? You have an office that there's no enough shade. For those with dwarfism, is it something that the cabinets, the chairs, the table, they are easily accessible for them? So all these things has to be put into consideration when you're employing a PWD in your organization. It's not just by saying, oh, 5% we have to employ them, or because it is mandatory and we have those 5%, let's just get them into our organization. Your organization has to make adequate preparation for them, provision and preparation for them. Thank you so very much. I don't know if I've answered that question.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kemi, for that beautiful insight. So basically, this symposium, like I said, is / a need assessment, yeah? So it's not just for us to learn, it's also for us to state out whatever issues we think that we might have when employing persons with disability. Yeah, Kemi has already told us a few things that we need to do, like making offices very accessible for the different clusters in the disability community. So I want to hear from different companies that are represented here. I can see Mrs. Victoria from Alternative Adverts. So please, can you tell us one or two things that your organizations might face when employing a person with disability, or just tell us something you think, maybe a skill that they need to learn or something.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, for alternative advice, we are just a small organization. I sent a mail earlier, Muna Chin, I don't know. So our speaker will come. He will be joining us soon. We're in a meeting. I just excused myself to be visually present. You understand? So when he comes and I requested to be a more like the third or fourth speaker so that he will join and maybe share. He's in the best position to share all that we're asking. So please excuse us. Can we move further to the next?
All right. No problem. No problem. When the speaker comes, please
You will
notify
join.
me.
I will let you know. I will notify you. Yeah.
All right, no problem. So I can see Demola from Lagos talk. So I welcome you too. So please, can you just give us a brief talk? Let's
Okay.
learn from organizations here.
Thank you very much, Mona. My name is DBC Adidamola. I work with the HR department at Mega Electrics Limited. Mega Electrics Limited is the holding company for Lagos stocks. So again, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. It's always exciting, to always be part of the community, impacting the world in our own sphere of influence. So it's we appreciate this opportunity. Okay, having said that, Lagos Talks is a radio broadcasting station that basically caters for specific demography. From the name itself, we can all agree that it's basically a talk station. The programming of the station also basically speaks to topical issues and trending happenings, major headlines, politics, diplomacy, human rights, and what have you. So basically, where we stand as an organization, we are always particular about this type of issues. We are always particular about conversations around human rights, politics, international diplomacy, and what have you. Having looked at the document itself, the act, I must say that yes, we know these acts do exist, but oftentimes people don't really get to study the provisions of many of the enactments or parliamentary acts that we have in Nigeria, basically. And it's quite exciting to know that an organization like yours is championing this cause.
Sorry, Mr. Demola, sorry to cut you short. Mrs. Uche's interpreter just left now, so please just give us a minute. Let him come back so that she'll be able to hear you. Okay, he's back. He's back, so you can continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, so from my own understanding of the act basically seeks to provide the opportunity for persons with disabilities to be fully integrated into the society across board, across functionalities, across every sphere of life. And also the act established the commission, which is vested with the responsibility for the education from people with disabilities, their healthcare, socioeconomic, civil rights, and other related matters. Having said this, I would like to share my own personal story, personal experience. So my mom, she retired as assistant headmistress in primary school many years back. And all through her teaching career, I was privileged to have witnessed her, move from, different school structure, from teaching as a regular teacher in a regular school to, being transferred to, a special school. So I was privileged to have witnessed that, and she basically retired as an assistant headmistress in a special school. So, I had the opportunity to see things firsthand, get to interact with some of these pupils, sometimes when I go to a school, I see them, I see how, how warming, how happy they are and all that. So that for me, it's an experience that I would cherish. Having said that, I feel that for us as an organization, we are privileged to have embraced, the provision of this act. And currently we have in our organization few individuals who are people living with disabilities. I don't want to, go into details, but I can tell you for a fact that we do have few individuals with disabilities in our workforce. Talking about the equal rights to work, I strongly believe that the opportunity for employment and participation in public life is equal rights to which people with disability also should not be left out. And I strongly believe that people with disability have the right to work on equal basis with others. And why I say this is because from personal experience, I can attest to the fact that the individuals that we have in our organization who are people living with disabilities, they are equal to the task. They have not shown any sign of weakness in any way. They do their job as much as any other person would do his or her job. So, yes, it's not just about contextual interpretation, but in practical sense, we've seen these things, play out. And I can tell you for a fact that yes, there should be no reason why people with disability should be discriminated against on the grounds of their disability as far as work opportunity is concerned. In our organization, we have head of a department who is a person with disability. He heads the department, and he's a member of the disabled community. So again, that is to show to the world that disability is not a barrier to you achieving your aspiration or ambitions. We will continue to advocate for more opportunities, as an organization within our own sphere of influence. I will also urge others to also take up these mandates and see how we can impact the world in within our sphere of influence. Having said that, I feel that government can do more through the appropriate ministries and authorities and agencies by providing more awareness, and also trying to correct whatever misperception that members of the public may have towards, this narrative of people with disability are not good enough and all that, We still have these issues that we deal with, once in a while. But, from where we start, because we are positioned to, be in HR, we understand the peculiarities. We understand, the intricacies of these things. So through us, we are better informed. Not everyone is privileged to, think in that direction. So I feel government can do more by creating more awareness, and help to sensitize members of the public as to, these conversations. again, from my experience, I know that road transportation, can I continue, please? I know that road transportation is a major constraint. In our organization, we do have staff bus that helps to ease the commuting of our staff generally. And I have a staff of ours who is visually impaired. He joins the staff bus. The staff bus will usually take him to his regular bus stop. But that is where the issue for me starts, because I'm usually concerned as to how he gets to navigate from that point to his home. So in that regard, I feel government can do more. With, public transportation, providing accessibility aids, to help pushing whatever difficult in that regard. Also, I feel that for organizations that have the capacity, they should intensify efforts, the corporate social responsibilities to also. There are so many ways that organization can provide support to the disabled community. One is through employment opportunities. The other I've spoken about how it is important that organizations should have at least 5% of their labor force as people with disability. It's an ongoing concern. We cannot overemphasize the importance of this. But then again, I feel that organizations can also do more in terms of their corporate social responsibilities, providing support where needed, that also can go a long way in helping us to achieve the mandate of the act itself. For us as an organization, what skills do I feel that people with disability will require to work with us? It's a media organization, as long as they have the required skills, the competence level to do their job, whatever aspects of media that they so want to pursue, be it on air, basically, on air majorly, because on air usually it's about your voice. So as long as you can, you have this talent, as long as you can deliver on the key tasks or to job description, yeah, that feedback from. So the skill basically are quite enormous, but I would just want to speak generally about skills and competence level that is required to work in an organization like Lagos Talks. Might be voiceover, might be good, you might have a wonderful voice that is plus to you, meaning that such an individual can work with your team or work in a production department, and the likes. So yeah, at this point, I would like to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this. We look forward to further collaboration in the future. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dimola. That's a good one. Thank you also. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We lost you for.
All right.
Yes, we can.
All right. I'm sorry about that. My phone is having a network issue. So like I said, we have Mrs. Aderonke Salami from Unicorn HR. I know from the HR aspect, you can do something from the HR aspect. So can you just briefly tell us, just speak to us briefly?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay. I've enjoyed the conversation so far. Mr. Demola has already given us like a very in-depth analysis of, what we can do as HRs within the system. Like he pointed out, a lot of people don't know about the Disability Act. And I think that's where a lot of HR personnel need to come in. I would just like to share a few things that I feel or that I believe can work that would help a lot of PWDs in the corporate setting. I mean, as HR firms, it's usually our duty to be the bridge or, close the gap between the employment or the employers and the employees or, candidates coming into any organization. And one of the first things I think that we need to do, as already pointed out, is to raise awareness. And for me, that's mainly stakeholder management. It's not enough to just have the act written, but also implement plans and actions that will help. And with stakeholder management, it is not just those with the disabilities, but those who need to know about it and are aware about it. So it's important that we educate people, not just, how do I put this now? Not just the corporate settings, but specifically to recruiters and hiring managers, or basically people within the HR industry, continuous training sessions that would help to raise this awareness, that would help them to, take on what we learn within, these sessions to the organizations. It will help so that when it is delivered to organizations, they know how to implement this in their policies, in their procedures, so that it's easy for these for that implementation to happen within the organization. I mean, I know for a fact that there are some organizations in Nigeria that will tell you that, like Ms. Kemi earlier pointed that, they'll tell you they have ramps and they have things, but how are people actually using them? Are they using them correctly? Are they using them in such a way that it is actually beneficial? So by raising awareness, it goes a long way. Then also, like I mentioned before, diversity and inclusion. I mean, we talk a lot about inclusion in the workspace, but it's not as evident as we would like it to seem. Most times when we talk about inclusion, it's usually towards the women alone. But I think by raising awareness, we understand that inclusion isn't just for women alone, it's for everybody. So that also includes PWDs as well. Another aspect I think that a lot of HR firms need to focus on to improve this Disability Act is also in our recruitment practices. I mean, if you look at a lot of job postings out there, they're not as inclusive as we would like them to be. And, it becomes a problem because everybody has a style of how they want to recruit those who want to come into their organizations. And so I think it's important that we have more accessible job postings that would include the necessary accommodations for PWDs, as well as, diversity sourcing. So when I mean diversity sourcing, like what X Factor does as well, is to partner with organizations that have individuals who are, who are looking for jobs, but are also PWDs as well. At the end of the day, we look at it in such a way that most people feel it is until it becomes a problem before you find a solution. We don't want to get to that point. I remember specifically an issue that was brought to me about a young man that had a mental issue, but he was very good at what he does. Unfortunately for him, the organization that he was working in didn't recognize all of that. And then there's the stigma that comes with, having issues like that. I mean, he transferred or he left the organization to another organization, and he's doing fantastically well in that organization. What was the difference? They were able to include him in a lot of the practices that they have in the organization. He's able to manage himself. He's able to, offer his services without the stigmatization that comes with his condition. So I think it's important that we also, partner with organizations. I also want to talk about workplace integration. I know Ms. Kemi has stated that earlier, but it's also important that HR firms also put into place workplace integrations that would help with, with PWDs in the organization. And I would like to suggest mentorship programs. The truth is, yes, we don't want, when you speak to a lot of PWDs, they'll tell you that they want to be treated the same way as those without PWDs. While that is considered, we also have to put into consideration that there are necessary things that we need to put in place before they are integrated properly into the system. And having mentorship programs whereby you have someone who they can shadow or someone who they can work with directly in terms of personalized onboarding processes would help to, make this easy for PWDs going into the workforce. And then lastly, I just want to say that it is important to always monitor. At the end of the day, a lot of this is in line with collaboration. We need to be able to collaborate with as many organizations that would help, in this aspect. So tracking progresses, regular reviews, feedback, 360 reviews, and all of that would really help, in this aspect where HR firms can help with integrating PWDs into the workplace culture. I think that covers it. Like Mr. Demola said, I hope I'm getting his name right. I don't know if it's Demola or Damola. He mentioned something that was very interesting, and it's that we need to all stay together to make sure that this happens, and that starts from the government's implementation towards this Disability Act. I know that the stipulations in the act that says that if anybody defaults, as an organization, you pay 500,000 fine. As an individual, you pay 50,000 fine. But the truth is, if you give a lot of people that option, they are going to take it as opposed to actually implementing this thing. So government needs to come up again with something different that would help with this Disability Act. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Aderonke, for that. So also we have one more speaker with us from HR Hub Nigeria, Mrs. Jennifer.
Hi,
right. Hi, good afternoon. So like I said, maybe you just talk to us a little bit about what HR Hub Nigeria or what HR firms can do to improve the implementation of the Disability Act in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you for having me, and good afternoon, everyone. I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation so far, and I must say this is really, really timely for all of us. So like just as Ms. Monachim said, I am Jennifer Damo, the founder and Chief Human Resource Officer from the HR Hub Nigeria. So what we do is we are really just a consulting company, and we work with a lot of clients. So which is why I feel this is necessary for us to be a part of as well. So so far I really appreciate what Miss I'm not sure Miss or Mrs. Aderonke has said. And just to add a few things to what she said, and I'm looking at this from the perspective of us being the middle people between, job seekers and the employers. So I think just to add to a little of what she said in regards to recruitment and, finding a place for or integrating people with disabilities, I think one of the things that we can do as a strategy is to share more success stories of, companies that have successfully integrated employees with disabilities. That way, I think it will be a form of creating awareness. When other people see that, okay, this has been successful, they are inspired to also want to do same. So this is something that we've seen happen quite some time. I mean, not in the context of people with disabilities, but I think it's a good strategy to go. And then another thing I personally have, noticed so far is the lack of visibility of role models models who are people with disabilities in professional settings. So I think go intentionally connecting with professionals with who are from this who are people with disabilities, like we as HR consultants intentionally connecting with them in a professional setting and creating like a role model setting for others who would come in would help also in integration. It will help people who will be integrating into a company. It will help them smoothly integrate. I'm sorry, it seems like I am yapping a lot, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts together because I scribbled this down, but I hope this helps. This so far are some things that I feel could be strategies we can, deploy to help us in pushing the act. So thank you, Munachim, for giving me the floor. So far, this is a bit of what I can share, and I've really enjoyed this program. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Jennifer. Miss Victoria said someone was coming from alternative adverts. I don't know if the person is here yet.
Yes, he is, Mr. Emmanuel.
Oh, okay. Mr. Emmanuel, hi, good afternoon. Welcome once again. So like I said, can you briefly tell us what you think the skills you think persons with disability need to have to enable them to be employed in an organization like yours? What you also think the government needs to do to improve the Disability Act of 2018?
Okay, first of all, I want to appreciate your efforts in putting this together. Sincerely, I've not really had time to go through the act until this program was organized, and I had to look out for the document. And I see this, it contains a whole lot, but like there's a part of it that says a Ministry of Information, we are supposed to create strong awareness and then do a form of sensitization. Let me just read up what is here. Do a form of sensitization to let people know that these people with disabilities should be respected, and then and they should not be discriminated against. And I don't think much of that is happening. So I'm happy to see a group like yours taking it up and bringing up creating the awareness. Personally, I think there are two things I think should be done. One is still on the part of government and groups like yours trying to create awareness by the right of these people and how they can be integrated into the workforce. Second one will be more like an experience in our own organization. I wouldn't know how to call it. Let me just share an experience. We had this young lady who contacted us like 2 years ago. She said she wanted a job. She's actually from River State. I was like, okay, what can you do? Now I realized she's visually impaired. Or like that, I don't know what you can do because as an advertising agency, I was thinking, what can she do? I couldn't figure anything out because I realized she can't read that so fast and all that so well. So it got so bad, but what I loved was her energy. She kept coming back over and over again. I saw she really wanted to do something. She said her mother, just herself and her mother, and she just needs something to help her mother and all that. So we had an option at a point and to place her on salary, and she has been on salary till date. So what we do is from time to time, I realize she has a very good voice. she speaks so well. So what we do is from time to time, we give her a voiceover job to do. But that's the only thing I know she can do. But I believe if she has the right equipment, I don't know what the remit is like over there in River State, but I believe there should be a way to help them read up stuff, either online or on a paper. I don't know how this stuff works, but I think there should be a kind of equipment that could aid them to read either on the screen or read on a hard copy. So if there is something like that, to go a long way in helping people like her with visual impediment to be able to work within corporate environment. That's just the experience I've had so far. And then with the energy the young lady showed, that we're just committed to supporting her whichever way we can. And then to add to that, she has even contested twice in one of these beauty pageant there. She won, I think she won twice, Miss Tourism and one other one. Just to show you that she too want to succeed like every other young girl out there. And just the impediments, the visual impediment is just where her challenge is. So on our own part, we're just trying to support her as much as we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. So concerning the equipment you talked about, I know there's an equipment called braille layout or something, I don't know. But for that, I would like Ms. Kemi to quickly tell us something about it so that we can all understand that yes, there is an equipment for it and all of that.
Thank you so much, Mona. So Mr. Emmanuel, there is an equipment that she can use. It's called JAWS. JAWS.
JAWS. Hold on.
JAWS.
JAWS.
Yes. JAWS.
Okay.
But now, one thing with it is JAWS subscription is above 500,000 annually.
Wow.
So, yes, so there are equipments that they can use. You can use it on your laptop, you can use it on your phone, and it will read it out. We have a barrister. Our barrister here in Lasoda is a visually impaired person, and that is what he uses. He types on his laptop. He does he writes reports on his laptop with the aid of JAWS. Most of the PWDs visually impaired in Ministry of Justice, they do this. This is what they use. The Ministry of Justice has made it that annually they provide this subscription for their visually impaired barristers. So they provide all this. So you can, if she can, I know the money is, for some people the money is a lot. So if she can actually invest in that, but it's an annual subscription. That is why we tell organizations that, okay, if you're bringing in PWDs, you have to have assistive devices for them. You have to make provision of assistive devices for them. This way it will make their work easier, faster. Then also, if she uses an iPhone, which is also very easy, if she uses an iPhone can read out. If you send her probably a message or a document, an iPhone has the function of reading out those documents for her.
Okay.
I think iPhone makes it easier. Some other Android phones do that, but I've noticed that with iPhone is now, let me use the word inclusive. Yes, iPhone is now inclusive. That some of these functions, she can even get it from her phone. She'll get her phone to read out text message, get her phone to type out messages for her, and it will make her work very easy.
Okay.
Yes. Then I'm so sorry, let me just say this, for CSRs, companies that want to do CSR, please do CSR that is not bead making, that is not shoemaking, that is not how to do popcorn, how to if you're trying to empower PWDs, please empower them. Just like the first that I'm so sorry, I'm trying to get his name from Lagos Talk. He made mention of something voiceover. They called he found out what the person needed, and then yes, voiceover artist, just like you, Mr. Emmanuel. You found out that she has the talent of being a voiceover artist. So you can empower them in other places. There is voiceover artists, artistry. There is what's it called? There is graphics design. There is tech. There are lots of places where you can empower PWDs apart from making popcorn, apart from shoemaking, apart from saloon and doing this thing. That is all in the past. So we're trying to make sure that people come up with better ways of empowering PWDs. Thank you so much. Also, please, let me just say this for the government now. Now, I know that someone made mention of having governments do more and then bringing out awareness for the laws and everything. Now, right now, LASODA is in partnership with different clusters to amend the Special People's Law. So the law will be amended. I think that is why you're seeing that, what's it called? There is no much enforcement outside right now, because we're trying to amend the law so that some of this new, so we're getting inputs from clusters right now. Clusters are sending in their inputs to the agency. And then once we've gotten all that, we'll all sit down, we'll amend the law. And once the law is amended, you will see now that there will be a huge enforcement of all these things in the law. That is what LASODA is currently doing. Now, LASODA is also speaking with the Lamata, speaking with LAGBOS, trying to make transportation easier for PWDs. Now, we're trying to make it that there's going to be a card together in partnership with LASTRA. There's going to be a card for PWDs. So once you're going to all these places, this is your identification. Once you get to the bus stop, you're a PWD, you show them your card. They would have been, the drivers and every other person would have been oriented. And then once you show them the card, they will know that, oh, this is a PWD. This is how we're supposed to do it. There's a special, not really, but there's a treatment. There's a way you will handle them. There's a way you talk to them. There are seats for them. So once that is done, PWDs will have better access to transportation. Then for the transportation, for one, Mr. Sorry, I didn't get his name, from Lagos Talk, he made mention of bus dropping at bus stop. Now, organization, you take your what's it called? You take your staff, provide transportation for them, which is very great. That brings less burden to the government because governments cannot do everything. Now, once you provide transportation for them, you take them to the bus stop. Now, truth be told, governments cannot be there every time to be carrying one person from their bus stop to their respective houses. So this boils down to us Nigerians, Lagosians, loving each other. It boils down to us loving our neighbors. In Christianity, in Islam, we're told to love one another. So if you see a PWD on the road struggling, if you see a PWD on the road that needs help, you walk up to the person and you offer assistance. If the person is going your way, you guide the person. You guide the person. It all boils down to is one-on-one. We love it. Let's learn to love one another. That way we'll be able to help one another. If you see someone, a PWD on the road, who is stuck, who needs help, don't just look and walk past. You stop and you help. You help that person. Oh, where are you going? Are you going this way? Okay, I'm going that way too. You guide, you lead the person. So I think that's it. I think those are the points that I jotted down. I guess I've covered all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kemi. So you mentioned something, the JAWS that you mentioned, that is 500,000 per annum. Is there another equipment that is a bit cheaper? Because I don't know if some persons from visually impaired persons can afford such equipment or such software or something.
Yes.
Or if there's something else that they can afford, something cheaper or something they can afford to use.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the phone. Now, with your phone, with the iPhone now, it's going to be easy. I know it's not everybody that can afford iPhone. That one too, there is that one. But there are some Android phones too that are what's it called? That are disability friendly, that are inclusive too. So sometimes from your phone, I've met a lot of PWDs who are visually impaired. And so far, the ones that I have seen, even the ones that do not use iPhone, from their phone, they just put their phone they have their phone on talk to. I think there's an app, talk to speech or something. So from their phone, by the time they press something, they hear whatever the phone reads it out for them. The phone reads everything out. It reads out the time, it reads out with calling, it reads out the text message. And from that same phone, they reply. So you have a blind person replying you. And if you don't even know, you won't, if you're not with the person, you wouldn't know that this person is blind because the person has replied your text messages. I still chatted with the law yesterday. You won't know the law is blind because the law replies your messages. So there are a lot of ways that we can do it. Now, I think JAWS mainly is for the professional setting because you use your system. JAWS is for the professional setting. So if you're going to be using JAWS, you know that it's for your company. Your company will put it in their budgets that this person, if we're getting this person who is a visually impaired person into our company, we know that yearly there's this budget, it's per year for this person to work with. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much for that. So do we have any questions for our speakers, Ms. Kemi and Mrs. Uchi? If we have any questions, please can you indicate?
Okay, my question was, I know about the regular Google Voice, Google Voice, but I wanted to find out if aside from that regular Google Voice, there's another kind of app, especially on Android, that a visually impaired person can download to aid them with their whatever they're doing on the phone. I know about the regular one, but I think Google is trying to improve it with Google Gemini or something. I don't know if that is fully functional now, but is there no other separate app that a visually impaired person can download to aid them?
Mr. Emmanuel, so I will find out from the people that I work with here that use such apps, and then I'll get in touch with probably Muna or you if I can get your number. So I will call you and then I'll send them to you. I'll send the list to you. Yes, sir.
That'd be great. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So we have Mrs. Judith. She's back. I called her before, but she wasn't available. So welcome. So please, can you briefly talk to us about what you feel person with disability needs to do to be employed in the organization or in organizations as like yours? What needs to be done to improve the
Sorry, I'm kind of struggling here because the network at my end is bad. So I didn't really get the question. Sorry.
I said, for your organization, I know you work at Praxis Studio. Yeah. So for an organization like a company like yours, what do you think that the necessary skills that person of disability need to develop within themselves to be employed in your organization? And then also, what do you think needs to be done to improve the implementation of the Disability Act?
Okay. For the improvement, talking about sensitization, I work in the media, and there are a lot of things the public doesn't know. I'm very honest. To be very honest with you, if not for this symposium, I don't really know much about the act and the 5% inclusion thing. Not until I joined the symposium. So I think there's a lot that people need to know concerning the people PWDs. Sorry. So I think we need to put out content to sensitize the public concerning these people, letting the public understand that these people are employable, because we found out that a lot of companies do not employ people with the disabled people, if I would say. So we need to let them understand that regardless of the fact that they have a little challenge, but they are mentally sound. And I think we also need to put it out there. We need to showcase people that are physically disabled a bit, that are succeeding in their own they're also succeeding. Sorry, I'm stuttering a bit. I'm trying to put my thoughts together. So we need to put it out there, showcase people that have been employed in other areas and are doing well. This is to make people understand that okay, this person may not be able to do this, may not be able to do that, but mentally this person is sound and this person can do one or two. Then aside that, we also need to sensitize the public to concerning the fact that when you see someone who, for example, is blind person on the road, it's not on the road for you to look at him as if he's an alien, but for you to assist him or aid him where necessary. Because several times I've been on my way home, I have seen several times where people that are blind are just trying to navigate their way. Some people will avoid them as if they are play. By some who has conscience, like, okay, where do you want to go to? I'll direct you. I was opportune to school in. I was supposed to attend a school where people that has one or two children, like say people that disabled, also learning with us. So you find out that making them feel that yes, they are not different, making them feel that yes, they are part of us, they are part of the society, and there's nothing wrong with them. Helps them to actually feel among. So I found out that there's nothing like in my department because what I studied was in mass communication. We have people that are blind, people that can't talk, people that can't really move, they are not mobile. Or you have to assist them to move. But still, they can do well. They were able to do well in terms of editing videos, in terms of recording audio. So we found out that these people they have a lot to offer. It's just that we are not giving them the chance. So that is where we the media comes in. Then in terms of the skills they need to have to be able to function well in an organization like ours, when it comes to script writing, that you are blind or that you can't talk does not mean you can't write. So when it comes to script writing, yes, they can do well there. When it comes to editing videos, yes, they can do well there. And also, organizations like ours actually make it easy for example, assessing the building, like I read in the act, like most organizations do not have those measures put in place for people that are disabled, those that are not mobile to be able to access or come into the building or access the building. So I think we should look into that. But aside that, when it comes to script writing, when it comes to editing of videos, I feel they can do that, or even audio. They can function well there. So I hope I've been able to contribute also.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Judith. So, Mrs. Uche, do you want to add any other thing?
I will like to allow my interpreter to voice this time because I noticed that in the first time when I speak, someone was saying that the voice is not clear. It is echoing. So I will like my interpreter to voice while I sign. Okay?
No problem now. No problem. Fine.
Okay. So now, what I am trying to add is that all have spoken.
All we have spoken.
My colleague have spoken a lot about
My colleague have spoken a lot about persons with disabilities and what we can do for different clusters of disabilities
when it comes to
accommodate their specific needs.
Talk about the deaf will need
for example,
an interpreter, just as
a deaf person will need an interpreter, just as I have one here.
The word inclusion will never be.
The word inclusion will make it possible for the deaf person. Then for a blind person,
they need to work with to be accessible through.
We will need somebody to work with so that they can access other things, other buildings.
The structure.
That
Can you get me? Can you get me?
Maybe you should mute your own so that Michael's voice can be the only voice we hear. Because right now we're hearing two voices. Yes, better.
So I was saying that accessibility in some government structure is very important, and for information that has to be put out there, we need to change the structures or do some modification on the structure so that it can.
Hello, please, can you hear me now? Okay, let me use, can you hear me, please?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. There is network issue that is interrupting my voices and my speech. Okay, what I was saying is that there are some buildings that have restructured their facility to make it accessible for those who are visually impaired. And visually impaired staff working with them, their lifts were modified to have braille prints on the lift so that when a person with disability access the building, we not need a support or a guide or aid to guide you to where you are going. These are some of the things that we are talking about disability inclusion. And also people on wheelchair bound, they need a building that has ramp to make it easy for them to enter. And not only that, the toilet facility, especially when it comes to women with disability, because we know our needs as women with disability are very, very unique and peculiar. So our toilet uses should be one that it is very easy for us to access and also accommodate every need of structural adjustment so that people with wheelchair bound can make accessible use of it. And now in the area of media has been the people that has been helping to advocate and push for the society to know more about Disability Act. From my understanding of this conversation, some of our participants here are now testifying that they are not aware, but with the awareness creating now, they will do all that is needed to make inclusion in their organization. So that is what I would like to say. It starts from you. It starts from us. Not only after hearing here, we keep it to ourselves. Let us step it down to our staffs, to our members, so that from there we can spread the message of inclusion to everyone to hear. It's not enough to hear it now and keep it to yourself. Step it down to all other members of your staff so that they can know and get what the message is all about. Because I have seen a situation where we invited people from different MDAs to participate in our training on disability inclusion. And after that, we went to assess to see how far the implementation of those things have gone. Unfortunate to know that some of the staffs, some of the members said they are not aware, which means that the message have not gone deep. It does not go far. So this is what I want every participant in this program to know about. When you tell the message, spread it across so that way the message will go to everywhere, every corner that it needs to go. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Kemi. Is there any other thing you'd like to add?
Oh, okay. I didn't know you were speaking to me. No, nothing. We've said it all, and Madam Uche has said everything. So really, there is nothing. Just that we should work on how will I put it, work on awareness, make sure your organizations are aware that there is the act, and make sure that your organizations are, how will I put it, are disability friendly. And that's just it, basically.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. We really appreciate the insight and we intend to use everything we've heard today. Thank you so much. Do have a lovely weekend and goodbye.